Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you step by step how you can paint this gorgeous winter floral that's very beginner friendly. I'm going to explain every technique, every color mix, every tool, everything about this painting so you can create your own at home. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is going to make sure that as I'm explaining and teaching, you can really see what I'm doing by making sure the cameras are pointing at or zoomed into the technique. We also have the full palette the whole time, so you'll be able to see every color mix, and it's on its own camera now, which is pretty exciting.
Yep.
If you check the description below, you'll see a link to the website. The free student resources are there. The traceable is there. I'm going to be breaking this down into steps. You'll see it marked up. It'll go step 1, step 2, step 3. Those will be time stamped and let you know what's happening in each step so you can find your place again. And then like 7 to 14 days after this live stream, what will happen is that we will release a written out set of instructions for a mini book. Oh goodness, I hope I didn't lose her post because somebody was like, oh, Jeannie Martin says, I want to welcome everyone to the live stream. Jeannie Martin says it's Jeannie Martin's first whole live stream. Hi. So everyone who's come to the live or returned to the live or first time to the live, welcome. If you're here for the replay, definitely hit that subscribe button because all my live streams are available on replay so you can paint them at your own pace. Though it is nice to be here for the live streams so you can chat with the community and ask questions. If you have a question, put it in caps so that the moderators can help you. They're not really art cops here in my channel so much. They mostly just get bots in that kind of facility. But other than that, they help you find resources that we have because I have like 1,500 videos, maybe a lot more than that now. I haven't counted in a minute. And they help you find them because they're actually viewers like you who've been here for a minute, so they know where everything is, help you locate on the website and everything. All right, let's go over the materials. Sip our coffee or whatever you're drinking today. Make me small. So the surface today, our gorgeous surface, is Sportin' a Wish with a lovely relaxing black cat. Kind of a hint for next lesson. It says relax and calm. And that's just because what I hope you're having in your life right now. We're not that many days away from our holiday festivities if we're doing that. And you may not feel relaxed or calm, but I wish that for you. On the palette, we've got Mars Black, Phthalo Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Cad Red Medium, Cad Yellow Medium, Burnt Sienna, and Titanium White. Now, if you're doing student paint, you don't have to worry about this, but if you're wanting to upgrade to professional paint, but you find the cost of these two paints may be a little prohibitive, or you don't want to have cadmium, they come in a hue, and hue means it's the same color, it just doesn't have the pigment. So that's something you can do to drop those costs. I love it. I'm going to sip another sip of coffee. I'm going to put my live chat on live, like as it's happening. I like to see, ooh, thank you, Heather C. I appreciate that. And then Amy's like, mini Cinny. Yeah, it's the mini me. Mini me. With a bit of me. Okay, let's throw up step 1, babe.
There we
Now,
go.
I'm going to do a silly thing, which is I'm going to just put some black paint from the tube directly on my canvas. You don't need to do that. I'm just keeping my little palette organized so that when I'm teaching, it doesn't get messy from me picking up my paint with a big brush. This is not important for you. I'm going to use a big brush. This is a number 30 Simply Simmons extra large short handled in the extra firm filament. You don't have to have this brush. Any brush that you can paint the whole canvas with, you can use. I'm going to get it wet, kind of take off the extra water, and just paint out the whole white canvas. Now you could buy a black canvas. I see them on sale all the time, and they're really quality. Just so you know, a lot of times I love the gesso, especially the Michaels ones on the black canvases. It's just really nice. But you can also just paint a regular old canvas black. Just be sure that if you are framing, you at least go around the lip of the canvas. If you're not wanting to frame, you may want to paint the edges solid so that it looks nice when it hangs. Just whatever is up to you. Look at that. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth or perfectly anything because this is just a ground. It's an acrylic ground, and so you don't really have to worry about it being streakless or perfect or anything.
It's very dark. It's very black.
It's very black, and that's okay because we're going to kind of put in our ombre. But first, to do that, I got to dry this because that won't work while this is wet.
Okay.
So I'm going to dry it, and we'll come back and do step 2.
So, thank you guys for joining us. We are working out all the kinks for the new studio to get ready for Acrylic April. So we thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Oh my gosh, thank you, Tia. So I was looking over here in chat and seeing everybody here. It's so nice to see everyone. If you have a chance, stop by our website. There's lots of cool resources out there you can find. Lots of you can join our join on our what do we call it, newsletter thingies. You know, go out, join our website. If you sign up for the website, you'll be on the newsletter. We send out all sorts of really cool stuff. There you are.
All right, before we go on to the step, I've got a couple things to shout out. Tia, thank you so much. I really appreciate the corgi too, because I miss Shortcake, even though Shortcake does not miss me. And Trish James says, I just want to send a big thank you for doing these tutorials. I'm new to acrylics and you have given me the confidence to try. I am so glad. You're going to love it. It's a lot of fun to paint. And Mary asks a very good question. Do you have advice to reduce the shine of paint? So, regular acrylic paints come in a range from matte to shiny depending on the pigment. You can buy acrylic paint that's specifically matte. But if you find that your canvas has different shine or different matte and you want to unify that, you do that at the end when you varnish. You can spray varnish or brush varnish, and your painting varnishes, right? And it'll be labeled for acrylic paint. They will say matte, semi-gloss, and gloss. So matte is the one that has no shine and just finishes it flat. You can photograph it. It doesn't have any reflection. If you're going to do gloss, know that it'll be hard to photograph it once it's gloss varnished. It's not happening after that. It's like invisible. It's too shiny to be seen. So photograph before the gloss. All right, let's get a nice big round brush. This fabulous brush is, oh, thank you, Heather. Wait, I'm getting back up to the live. They're supposed to give me the live. All right. So I've got my nice big round brush, number 18 Artiny. What this head is this is hog filament, and I really like it. I like it when it's a blend of hog or just pure hog. You just got to remember, if you're using the regular, that's hog bristles, so it doesn't throw you when you look at the brushes, that you really dry that out. Marie asks, should you dry between every layer every time? Not always, which is why I try to shout out the difference. That way, oh, this technique needs a wet surface or this technique needs a dry surface. Because in acrylic, sometimes you want the area to be dry and sometimes you want it to be wet. So I've dampened the brush. I've taken the excess water out. I'm going to take a little of my phthalo blue into my Mars black over here. And it kind of creates this very cool black. And I'm going to go ahead and, I'd like to get even a little more blue into that. Start my gray. And I'm going to just kind of wiggly. This is almost a scumble, my friends.
It is.
Now, the nice thing about the painting having a ground on it is that when you're painting, even if the paint's a little transparent, it'll still have depth. That's a good reason to have a ground. I am making the painting just a little bit gray because I want to put a very deep, dark black face on here. Right? So that's going to be about value. Even though it's going to be subtle value, it's going to be about value, my friends. So I just kind of scumble that out. And when I have that on there, I can come into the corner and do a little more black and blue together. All right, so this corner is a little more black and blue, but it is just a shade to 2 shades lighter than black. And that'll just help us see the vase. And also the black against the blue black will also play a way for us to do it. So that's how we get the deep, deep area to look so deep and yet still show against the background. I'm coming across the bottom, just still wiggling, kind of feathering, blending it in. Let's get a little more white in there. Now, see, this one is a wet into wet technique. So the paint being wet on the surface and me blending into the wet paint helps create a diffuse look, doesn't it? Softens it. And it's easy for me to soften it and build up. I like to create a bit of unevenness on this type of background, so it's atmospheric. That's what we call it when we put a little bit of zhuzh in a diffused background. This type of background works for florals just generally. You can do it in browns and grays and ochres, lots of neutral backgrounds, raw sienna. Just creating neutral backgrounds. Really start to lighten up this corner. You can see I'm just softening this in, just letting the brush go around. I like the noise of the brush on the canvas.
Yeah, it's very nice.
When I'm trying to soften it, I lighten my brush pressure, right? And I just go over it very lightly. Let's add a little more white into it, and I grab just a little more blue. And we're going to just build up this corner a little bit. See how that just diffuses and lightens up? And where that's got a hard edge that I don't like, I just come back through and soften it with the brush. I'm just patient.
It's quite nice how this background is coming in.
Yeah, it's just a fun background. And again, it'll work for any still life. What?
Beth, how does one spell gouache?
Gouache.
Gouache. It's very French. It's gouache.
Gouache.
How do you spell gouache?
Oh my gosh. I have to use Google to spell gouache, but it's a Gououeche or something like that. A bunch of our watercolorists probably have it down on the spelling.
Or if you say it's a goache.
Well, because it's got a CH and E in there, so I don't even know that a goache will help you.
Gouache. Goache?
Good luck with it.
Or
gouache is
gouache?
not too dissimilar from acrylic in some of its temperament and nature. So a lot of your acrylic techniques will carry over into gouache. It's just water based, and you can reactivate it pretty easily.
Mm.
You can come back to this area and even blend back in. So it's just very nice and soft. It's just pretty easy. I'll take a little bit of that dark color and just really create a roundness to it. Doesn't that look nice? I'm going to rinse my brush out really good because I don't want to leave acrylic paint on my brush. That's not good for it. And I'll put that aside and let it dry. And I'm going to have to put some paper in there. I'm going to dry my canvas, and we're going to come back and do the next step.
Yeah, so as, let's see here, as the non-vowel teach said, gouache. 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 And gouache, if you were international, I guess, would be how everyone would say, you were saying it wrong. If you're trying to be international and be wrong, I guess. So, I don't know, gouache. It's cool. It's like another water form of paint. It's more opaque than watercolor. It's used in historical stuff a lot. It was really, really popular for illumination of books and things like that. So, weird knowledge of gouache.
Are you having weird knowledge of gouache?
Gouache, the international art.
Sachet, gouache. RuPaul, don't sue me.
We're all just painting here. No hate the paint.
Don't hate the paint. Don't hate the artist, hate the game. I don't know. It's been a week. So I'm going to put in my vase. I'm going to use a really cool tool. You guys always ask me about this. This is the Drit chalk tool. It is a tailor's chalk tool. It uses little chalk cartridges. These are essentially just regular chalkboard chalk that are made skinny that you can sharpen. Now here's the thing about this. You can get these at Joann's. You can get these on Amazon. Sometimes Amazon price gouges. They shouldn't be too much money. If you, I have them in my Amazon store, the Sherpa Amazon store, and hopefully we'll have them in our new art store when we open it, or soon after we open it. But until then, definitely cross shop those and just don't overpay, or just use kids chalk, like the kind you use on a chalkboard. I'm going to come here. Zhuzh.
Oh, no. Okay. So, not gouache. Zhuzh. How do you spell zhuzh?
Oh,
I
man.
totally misunderstood the question. I fell down
we're
a
pathetic,
different
aren't
rabbit
we?
hole. I'm like
So I'm going to come over a little
trying to be
bit.
helpful and
I'm going to come over a little bit from the right and make a little mark with my chalk. It's about a little inch over here. And then I'm going to leave most of a third of a canvas. This is a very general thing. This is a very made up vase. I made up this vase. So if your vase is different than mine, I can't say nothing about it because I made up my vase. I did not set up a still life and do this. Now I'm going to bring these little rounded edges, and what I want them is to be essentially symmetrical. And then I'm going to make a little curve line that's like a smile. What? Did you step? Oh, if you didn't, did you step? I won't go any further if you hadn't. Get confirmation. I'll just keep drawing on the shoulders.
just all the team is like scrambling. Did he step? Did he not step? It's like a very small delay. Everyone checks. Okay, I did.
Okay, good. So I'm going to bring the little bead out here. A little kind of rolled bead. I like this. And then I wanted there to be kind of another little rolled bead out that's a shoulder. Why did I make such a weird vase? I don't know, man. Stuff happens with me sometimes. I tell you, is like sometimes I just get into doing my thing. I'm going to give it a little curved top. I just get into doing my thing. You can use the traceable at this stage. And then I think to myself, well, that's going to be awkward for everyone, but it's what we're doing anyways. Just trying to make it the same on both sides. Try to throw a good pot here, right? If you, in your imaginary potter's will, try to throw a good pot. Okay, there we go. So that's that step.
That was
Call a step.
That was a sophisticated step of stepping.
That's the step of stepping.
But you know, if it and right now I don't think there's a traceable for this, is there?
Yeah, there's traceable.
Oh, there's. Oh, okay, great. So there's some folks asking about that traceable.
Yeah, it's right there on the website. Check the description below. It'll take you right there to the web page. If you have trouble downloading it off the video page, you can go to the traceable tab on the artsherpa.com. So we got a couple places for it. And I always throw it in the event on Facebook.
Neato.
I'm going to load up my brush with just black. And I'm going to paint in my vase. Now I am using a number 8 Simply Simmons Bright. And it gives me nice clean edge, which I am very grateful for. And the trick is you want it to just be dark against the background. I may need to remove some of my chalk, but I can do that once everything is dry. Kind of using the edge of my brush there to help give me some crisp lines. Sometimes you can look at your brush and be like, oh, you can be helpful here. Be helpful. And the brush is like, I mean, that's what you want to do. And then I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what I want to do. Help me out, brush. Now I may want to, while it's a little bit wet, maybe I'll dry brush it in. Actually, I think we'll get more control out of a dry brush. What I do on the right, I must do on the left. All right, I think that looks pretty good. We will dry that thoroughly and we will call that a step.
Nice. Make it just a little easy there. And we try to break these up step by step so that, one, it makes it easy for you to follow along. So, like, if you have to stop, pause, rewind, let the dog out, get the cat out of the Christmas tree, whatever, you can hit pause and come back, and we'll be right there where we're at. Or if you just let it automatically go and you were like, oh, I didn't know, but the last step you remember seeing, you're like, oh, yeah, I can go back there. Makes it easier. Also, we got these mini books, which make it much easier to go step along with. So, steps. That's why we make them.
That's why we make them. I rinsed this brush off, the number 8, and I'm going to come here and kind of just get the chalk out of there so I can see what I have painted, because sometimes the chalk line does confuse us a little bit visually. It's pretty good. Just kind of drying that back out. And so when I see that, I'm going to come here and take a little of my blue, black, gray mixture and get some white, and I'm going to come to the left shoulder below the little bump, make a little line. It's very little water and paint on my brush, and I'm going to very carefully just dry brush down that reflection. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I got to clean my iPad. I almost painted a spot that was on my iPad.
That's funny.
I really need to clean that. If you need to blend it, you can always come back with your black. See how I can do? Just come back with the black. And soften it. Now I'm going to put this aside for a second. Keep it nearby, but I'm going to put it a little bit aside, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a number 4 rounds. This is a synthetic round. It's got a good point. It's one of my detail brushes. They're hard to find right now, so you just want any good synthetic round brush. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my white. It's not my whitest white, but it's pretty white. For the purposes of this vase, it'll feel pretty white. And I'm going to come here and add a spot of reflection. And just brush a little curve reflection that's here. It's more of the reflection that's on it. And then again, at what is the curve? Little dash. Right, just a little bit, because it's shiny. Now what's great is if you've got anything that you need to like come back and change, you can come back with black and erase. So that's just something you just might not know that you can do. Can thin a line. That's the wonderful thing about that vase, is that, you can do that. Now, if this is dry and that's dry, I can come back with almost pure white. And just right here at the corner, hit that little hotter reflection. Kind of feather it out with the corner of my brush, blend it. Just a little bit of the white that's like super bright. Put that aside. Get some just white on my brush, just on the toe. And I don't want to take out all of the blue-gray reflection, so So you just add that pop of white. There we go. That's all there is. Reflection, reflection. Reflection, reflection, reflection. Reflection, reflection, reflection. Let's dry it, and then it's another step, and that'll be fun for us.
Okay. This is coming together pretty well. Just sort of do. And it's very dark. I was so surprised at how dark the mason jar there has in the background, because the flowers really pop against that background. So it was just really important to make it dark.
Dark.
All right, you ready for your step?
Yeah, I think I'm mostly ready for my step. Now I've got to think about how I'm going to lay in my flowers and how I want to lay in my stems. And a lot of times one might put in stems and then layer flowers over it. But since these have such specific placement, I kind of want to think about where my flowers are. So I'm going to take my chalk tool and I'm going to come over here on the left and kind of say, oh, there's one of you here. And let's come down here. So there's one of you there. These are the white flowers. I'm going to put one up here, kind of inward, so a little triangle in, little one out here. So I'm not trusting myself to just wing it, and that will keep me from getting myself into trouble during the painting process of it. I'll put that aside. Now I'm going to use my power tool for flowers. Is it cheating? No, it is not cheating. Sometimes it makes it so easy. It feels like it's cheating, but it is not cheating. I'm going to get my brush. This is a filbert. And so the brush is curved, right? And that helps shape the petal. And I'm going to get a little of my titanium white and ultramarine blue together.
Now, Shannon brings up a really good point. Like, if you wanted to just remember that step 6 is where you could deviate to any other floral you wanted, this is a fantastic base for lots of different
floral you want.
For lots of different flower arrangements.
All of them are pretty good. So I'm just trying to make sure I've got this loaded on the edge of my brush. It's kind of white, but not all the way white. There's a slight blue cast to it. I'm going to come here and we're going to sort of press, pull back, and then use the edges to kind of come in. All right. Going to come right here. I think I'm going to pull that one that sort of direction, sort of vary that up. See how I'm tapering it back in there? I will rinse that out. And I'm going to use a smaller little filbert because I'm so into it, and grab a little bit of my gray here. All right, this is my background color. So it's just a smaller one. See how this is the number 4 Isabay Isacryl, and this is the number 8 Filbert from Simply Simmons. But what I'm looking for is 2 kind of complementary sizes in the brushes. Paint the inner, kind of like bring it in a little gray. Coming in with a little bit of that gray. Now I can always come back with this filbert and make sure that the flowers have nice blending.
Petal definition.
Well, I mean, I know it's like an abstracty flower, but I think I'm probably do all the let me see if I can do them all with just one brush. I like to do things sometimes all with one brush, so let's see if I can do it. If I can't, we'll go back to the 2-brush method. If it's difficult at all, we just go back to our easier method. So I'm going to make sure this is fairly white. Come here. Now these are sort of upward petals, so I'm going to take this one, I'm going to press in and kind of curve it. Bigger one right there. Oh, look at me go. And they're a little layered over the vase, right? So I'm going to just pull that.
That was funny. You kind of laid your brush over sideways.
Well, it doesn't, we're not turning the surface anymore, so.
Ah, that makes more sense. Why are you making a weird brush? So you should explain that.
So we took the turntable away. I'm fading in the background color again. We took the turntable away. At one, because there were some requests about that, it being hard if it's shifting, and then on the time lapses, it being a little bit wiggly. So we're going to see what it's like. But I angled my surface up to me. So that could be nice. Like I might have an easier time because it's angled. So we're going to see how that goes. Painting a little bit of the lighter color on the outer edge, a little more defined. Make sure that that's a little more white. So you want the petals to be a little lighter on the outside, and then you kind of fade them in with the background color on the inside. Choo, choo, choo. Now I'm going to put a little petal right there, a little more defined. And then I'll get a little of my background color. This one's a little, it's not as white as the others, so it kind of implies that it's maybe give a little, just kind of pull that in. And you get into the background color and you can kind of blend anything in there. Get interesting shaped petals. It's important. You just want to keep the petals interesting shapes. Be interesting with your petals. Kind of curving that one. Again, ultramarine blue, titanium white. Coming on the edge of the brush. Maybe a single one there, back into the background. Kind of work that out. It's looking good. I like the kind of, I don't know, like a kind of shocking, exciting contrast between the white flowers and the dark background.
It's very studio, where they have those still lifes and they have the really neutral background where it's a very controlled lighting environment.
It really is.
It's very artful. It's, it's very, very, very beautiful, because it's got, your eyes are drawn to the bright flowers up on the edge, and then they kind of fall down to the vase or the in my case, mason jar that has, some soot on it.
Get some background color again, and then we'll make some kind of like very light petals that maybe are right there. Kind of fade those in too. I like fading it in. I agree. It's fun. And, sometimes you do go back to classic thought processes, right? Sometimes you do kind of read yourself back there. Maybe add a little bit of sometimes it's good to add little sort of background petals that kind of fade into I'm going to add some here. Right, kind of turn the brush on the side, and these are like little in shadows. I like them. Rinse out a bit because my brush is getting dirty and stiff. And we don't need that. Nobody needs that. All right, going to grab a little bit of my white again. And then I've got my chalk dot here, so I'm going to make sure I kind of put a little petal there. Maybe a little petal there. Something a little wider there. And I want to kind of put two little blurps. They're blurps. I'm going to come over here to this side here, John. Okay. There we go. Okay. We're going to call that a step. You stepped. What do you guys think of that? I do need to dry it.
You dry it before we step it.
Okay. I'll dry it before we step it.
Yeah. So that way we get fresh step. We don't have to endure the drying on a fresh step. We'll endure the drying on the old steps. That way when you're like, all right, I got this, I'm going to go dry it. You don't have to come back, and then on the next step, we're like, and now we're going to dry, and make you wait while we dry it. See? We've done this a couple times because that's how we used to do it. Like, if you go back and watch some of our old videos, we were completely out of order. We're like, you guys, we're going to take a step, and then we're going to come back and we're going to dry it. We're going to make you sit through the drying. And why would we want to do that? Except to tell you about drying.
Da, 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 da.
But see, now we know to step after drying.
It's the step after drying.
So you don't have to sit through the drying.
Don't sit through the drying. Okay, so now we're going to put in some of our orange and brown, and this is going to be real fun. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my cad red and my cad yellow together and, you know, make a nice little orange here.
Oh, could we have a request here, real quick, for mini step? Could you show them how to do that petal construction one more time before you? The specific was, could you do one more where you showed how to build the flower petal?
I can try. Okay.
We'll make this a mini step in between there because just
see
do
where
one.
The brush is.
I like it.
All right, I'll do this one here.
Okay.
So the first one is I'm coming in. I grabbed my big filbert. I don't know where the filbert I was using.
Sorry, it was the brown one.
Okay. So let's get this going again. Okay. I'm going to come here and take my ultramarine blue and my titanium white. Quite light though. It's not pure white, but it's for the purposes of this background, it's going to feel that way. And we're going to come here and hit the tip, and then I'm going to bring the corners down.
Okay.
And then I go into the background color, which was the phthalo blue, Mars black, and titanium white. Right? And I mix a darker background gray. And then I can sort of blend that in. See how you can blend it in?
Yeah.
So that's how we're getting those.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
So now that's great because that we'll actually, if you don't mind just drying that, and then we'll call that a step. So we've got that little extra mini step in there for everybody. Is that okay? Because they were.
I don't know, man. It feels okay.
So we're gonna add that as a little step here. So yeah, no problem, Mary. I know that sometimes getting those flower elements can be complicated. So we'll just add that in there. And that'll be a bonus step. Mary's bonus step.
Okay.
That was Mary's bonus step.
Oh, yay, Mary. I'm so glad.
So next is this step.
All right. So I'm back to my number 4 round, and I'm going to get my chalk tool, and we've got a major orange focal flower right here. All right. We've got one kind of maybe right here. There's definitely a nice big one right here. There's a little fellow right there. And then maybe a little friend that's sort of over to the right. Somebody sort of layers down in there. And then you're kind of whispery, and kind of here a little bit is both flowers. So we're going to have that work there. And then we kind of have little hidden ones sort of placed here and there. So first, let's get our cad red and our cad yellow together. And I'm going to come here and just make some little marks right here. I'm going to come up here. 2 little yellow marks. This little yellow mark and that little yellow mark. So it's yellow, but it's just a little more orangey yellow. I'm going to go ahead and maybe put a little more orange in it right here. Little petal out there. Kind of curving up. We're not doing the whole flower yet because they kind of have 2 tones, don't they? All right, so it's just a press and release. It's sort of like the leaf stroke. Just do some of them thinner and some of them wider. Then I'm going to come in and get a little more red into the mix, right? So that it's kind of like a noticeable red-orange. Some of the petals are short, some of the petals are long. And we're going to come down to our brown. Some of the petals have a bit of a brown in them. This is our burnt sienna. And if we take a little of our orange there, oh, the brown and like a little more brown and red. I like that. That's perfect. Pulling that in. So that's almost cad red and burnt sienna. Then we've got more cad red and cad yellow. And then we have more cad yellow to the cad red. So it's where we're mixing our strongest colors versus not. Now I might come here and get kind of a little black into that because I want this to be a little muted. See how I did? Kind of darkened it. There we go. And you can put those a little bit here and there as they go. A little more into the red and brown. We really just want them all to come towards our little center here. But they are not necessarily all a dial. They're not necessarily all round.
So
now I'm going to come in and
we'll say thank you to everybody here in just a moment so you guys know.
Coming right there. Sometimes I'll grab some orange while it's still wet and kind of like blend it in on a dirty brush. See how I'm doing? Look at my brush.
Oh, what's wrong with that brush?
It's just got so many colors of paint on it. It's just wonderful. It's just perfect. And what that does is that lets me get some different little kind of values going that I might not normally easily get. Make little light petals there. See, they're dark, so I can do that. They kind of just play there. Maybe a little more orange. A little more red. And we'll still have pops that we'll do that are just much more even noticeable than, you know, where we're going. So I got a lot more red on there. And go into the black over here. Kind of tone those down, and that's looking really good, isn't it? So these little flowers are building up. We're building them up. Maybe a little more into that orange there. Might rinse out some just to get some brighter color going. Take a little of my red back over to my yellow, just brightening it up, right? Just adding some of that brighter orange here and there. Just a little bit there. Okay. That's just a nice little beginning of that. So those are looking pretty good. I'm going to dry here.
Okay, before you go on dry. All right. So Lori.
Lori.
Oh my gosh, you should scroll
Oh
up.
my gosh. Lori Petite. Oh my gosh. That is a very nice Christmas present. Thank you. Wishing you both a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for always going above and beyond for all of us in our painting journey. Peace and blessings. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Right below that, you'll see Mary sent us a wonderful stickers. Thank you as well. We really appreciate it. We love being able to put these extra steps and stuff in there for you guys when you need that stuff. So that's one of the bonuses of coming to the live show, is you get to ask for this kind of cool stuff. So, all right, now you can proceed to dry.
I'm gonna dry it.
Dry.
And then we're gonna do another step.
An additional step. They come that way, in steps, sequentially, as it were. Sometimes you can get all Monty Python about it and be like 1, 2, 4, because that's the way it goes sometimes. But now, so much about the philosophical nature of steps. Thank you for joining us. And she's back.
From outer space.
So fast.
So fast. Okay. So at this stage, right, I can look at these major objects. I stop thinking of them as flowers, and I can look at them and say, do I like the balance? Am I happy with their placement? Do they have the value that I want? Does it have enough contrast? And those types of things. And I can figure out if I want to add flowers or not add flowers. As long as I'm happy, I can go on, and I am. I'm going to take my round, and I'm going to start with my black, just on the toe. And I'm going to come right here. Make sure I've got I don't want the brush to split on me. And I'm going to come over and kind of go down. I'm going to make this little sticky fellow. See, that's very sticky?
I do.
You want it to have little guys that go off. I'm also going to come here and I want to make sure that I've got some of this kind of black and brown too. It's almost pure black. And I'm going to come here and add that weird little bit in there. And add little stems inside.
This is a wonderful question.
The
bug would like to know, is this a shrubbery?
It is a shrubbery for sure. I might come right here and add a little kind of formed back bits and a little fine lines here. Bringing those back. Come around this flower and put in some of these little bits. Don't necessarily want to do them in a whole radial. Come in there in the center, kind of giving that some depth. See, I went mark, and then I bring that back in. I'm creating these little sort of rough stems that fill in that space of the vase, and their lines start to create their own part of the composition, right? So they're kind of filling in and creating balance and also lines that I can track. All right, bringing that stem a little more thoughtfully down there. A little bit right there. Just the start. Kind of come here. A little bit of black in there. Maybe pull a little of the branch there. Just brushing back here on the orange. Kind of come underneath there and shade that, and then do a little bit of the radial. Come out here towards the right. Some more of those little radials. They're like little centers of flowers and things. Add a little dark here, kind of coming around the flowers. Little smudges. Just kind of fanning that out. It's okay if a couple go low, but mostly I want to stay sort of upper end. Gonna add some there, I think. Make sure that that is worked out. Let's call that a step and we'll dry it, and then we'll come back with some highlights on some of our stems and in the center of our flowers.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Okay.
So yeah, while we're saying all that, thank you guys. Thank you so much for all of the support and the patronage out here, guys. You make this, you make what we do possible. Every day we are able to improve our studio and make things better because of the stuff that you guys do. The reason why our camera angles are looking better every day is because of the supports you guys give us, and I can't say thank you enough because I love doing this and I love being able to do these cool things, and it's all because of you guys. So
I would kiss my hand and do it, but I got gloss on,
this.
so I had to do this like really awkward because like I have gloss and it's like the stingy gloss, so I didn't want it on my hand. I'm going to take a little bit of my red and yellow. Do we have a step?
Yes.
Okay. Take a little bit of my red and yellow, make kind of an orange. I'll bring it down to my brown, like you do. Get a nice oranged brown. I'm going to come here and highlight just some of that little stem that's down there, creating a little bit of a line coming off. I like that. I'm adding some of this little brown pop color right here. Don't want to take out all my black, but I definitely want to have this there. Pop a little bit there. Add a little bit here and there on the stems. Pop these in here too. I like to add a little dot center because I'm going to come back with brighter colors on that dot center. Now maybe some of these are more yellow. So I have both of those here. I've got my reddish brown and I've got my yellow brown. Pop a little center in there. Definitely want a little bit right here. Bring that highlight there. Oh. Let's add some little radials out here with that brown. Nice contrast against the black.
Good question for the next stop.
Maybe add a little bit right there. Just a few pieces kind of happening here. Just kind of bring it in. So we're starting to balance that out. I think we could call that a step.
Okay. And
we're going to dry it.
Could you explain underbinding?
Underbinding is when your paint isn't able to adhere to the canvas or dry properly. So when you paint the next layer over, it lifts back up. And it can happen for a variety of reasons. Most often is too much water in the paint for the paint it is, because like economic paints can't take as much water as say professional paints can, which you can practically do washes with now, and they know will cure if given enough time. So if you're having lifting, you may not have dried the layer enough. You may have too much water in the layer. You may want to change paint because some paints are much more prone to like not bind. There's a paint that the black just doesn't bind no matter how much time it's given to dry, and when you go to varnish, it goes sleek and it makes streaks. Or it did a while ago. I haven't seen any complaints about it for a minute, so maybe they fixed it, but it was like really bad at one time. All right,
there you go.
Let's dry it.
So, yeah, thank you guys. And if you have a chance to go out to our website, theartsherpa.com, we have a lot of resources out there. There's the mini books, the calendar. Like there's you can find a little search engine for the traceables. There's all sorts of really cool stuff out there. So
I'm really loving this one.
Everyone is here loving it too.
Gosh, it just makes me super happy, guys. It just really makes me happy, this one. I think it just came out super pretty. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add pops of color, strong moments that really kind of pull everything together. And that's when we're going to get into, you know, like our cad red and our cad yellow, and it's just the brightest orange that we can make, right? So we're going to make a very bright orange. Let's come a couple places and add that super bright. See how that's just super bright? Over a couple petals. And let's go into like maybe here. And I'll streak out a couple places. So that's a little bit in that center, just a little. Maybe add one out there. I'm just feeling it. Just a little pop of that bright orange right there, here and there, here and there. Definitely want to add that there and just want that extra color. I don't take out what I painted entirely below. Right? I'm just adding to, creating a dimensionality. Not every little radial. But some radials, right? I'm kind of rinse out a bit. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get some cad red. And hit a little bit at the bottom there. Not every little radial out. Little lines here and there. Maybe on these like low ones right there where it's like super low. Right? Give it some just, ooh, you're so red. Just a little bit of, you're so red. I'm going to rinse out a bit. It's doing pretty good. It's doing all right. Now I'm going to take a little of my yellow and some of my titanium white. Mostly yellow, just with a tint of white. The white will help its coverage and also just help it get just enough contrast to really see how that really pops there. That just really is a much stronger contrast to what is around. Can add a bit there. You can kind of come in there. Look at that go. So that's a little titanium white and cad yellow. And I can always like come in and exaggerate certain elements. Gotta make sure my brush isn't too loaded up. Right there, look at that go. Couple little petals there. Definitely wanted a brighter yellow right here. Right there in that center. Just a touch there. Just a touch there. So now we've got these pops. Aren't they like, whoa, glowing?
They are.
We're going to dry it, and then we're going to do the last little touch and sign it.
Okay.
Woohoo!
So this has been fun. Thank you guys for this is. I mean, I have been. You guys may not know we made a bunch, like I said, a bunch of changes in the studio. I've really been enjoying it today. This has kind of gone very well. So I look forward to making a couple little more adjustments. Seeing you guys again very soon to do this. Now, don't go yet. We still have a few more things here to do. I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of chance to say thank you and good seeing you guys a little bit later. So here she is. She's back.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get my, I'm going to use my filbert, my number 4 filbert again. And I'm going to get just some white and kind of load it on the edge here. And I'm going to add some white highlights. To some of the flowers. Like maybe the tops of that. See how we're giving it that extra. What that does is let those petals pull forward maybe. Kind of away from each other. Like there a little bit. Oh, thank you, Trisha. I appreciate that so much. Maybe a little bit there, kind of pulling that in.
Thank you, Trisha. It's so nice. Thank you. Very happy holidays to you as well.
Not for Trisha.
Season's greetings.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I've got this one.
Okay.
I hope you're cozy and happy in winter, that you are doing great, and that everything is normal in your normal life. Same rules as Dad.
Okay, there you go.
I love you, babe.
No problem. We're just painting flowers.
Just painting flowers. These are winter flowers.
In a vase.
Winter.
In a sooty mason jar.
Not a city mason jar.
Well, if it was mine,
add a little bit of popsy like that there, kind of catches that, maybe.
I don't have any fancy black vases.
A little bit right there, kind of popping out, doing its thing. I think maybe a little bit right there, pulls that out. And I'm gonna, maybe I see a little area here that could be needed a little zhuzh. There.
And thank you, Deborah and Tia.
All right, I think, guys, I think I love it.
I think it's awesome.
I think I love it. So what I'm looking for is that nice balance of light and dark. You know, it's a winter floral because the hardy wood nature of the attaching stems, right? Like these are the flowers are economical. They're the kind of blooms that you see later in the season. So that's kind of how I took my information to make it winter. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Tia. You guys are amazing. And then
And Deborah, right before that.
and Deborah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate that so much.
You have to sign it.
I gotta sign it. I'm rinsing out my brushes. I think I'm gonna sign with a liner because that will aggravate me much less. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my background gray color. I'll thin it a bit and load the liner as you do. And then I'll tell you what's next.
Trisha said thank you very much, and Tia said thank you, and Mary, and Deborah, and Shannon. Hello, everybody, and Lori. It's so nice that you guys all joined us today. All right, now it's time for Big Cinnamon.
Big me!
It's your show.
All right, so here we are. We've come almost to the end of 2022.
But we got more shows.
We've got more shows. Whatever you're going on into, be it your holiday season or just a regular winter. I know depending on where you are, heating is a concern, being okay is a concern. So I definitely want everyone to be warm and okay and fed. I hope you are surrounded by the people that get you and love you. I think that's very important. So I hope all the people that get you and love you and are there for you as you are everywhere. I am going to be not back until I sent out a text today. Let me check the date because I sent out the text. If you get the text, yeah. So we come back the 27th of December.
Yes. And
we're going to be doing a cat for kind of the end of the year because I like black cats and I find them to be lucky. Because I don't know. It's a black cat. And I just kind of needed to get out of the winter for a second. And then right after that is a very colorful rainbow landscape. And this kind of came out of a place of just like thinking about rebirth and coming out of this time that we've had, really hoping for us all to come back into our best, most bloomlicious spring growth and our most fantastic selves. And then I'm going to be kicking off on the first of the year a floral fairy. Now that's not going to be on the 31st because the 31st is John's birthday.
it is.
And I thought it'd be fun if we just let John have a day off.
I don't know what I would do.
I don't know. It's something crazy. Just do what you want to do. It's your birthday. And then we'll
play with cameras.
Maybe what he does. But he gets to choose. We're not dictating it for him. And then, so that's a Sunday, and we're going to be back. Now, definitely hit the subscribe. I'll be scheduling them up really soon. The color mixing class is coming, right? And if you're doing Acrylic April with me, consider this your prep for Acrylic April. Acrylic April is actually going to be kind of chill this year, but to do it and really love it, you've got to be kind of firm in your color mixing. So show up for all the color mixing courses, because those are going to be really leading us up into that and getting us ready for that. Plus, honestly, if you do this color mixing course with me, all the other color mixing everywhere else will suddenly be much easier. I've really been thinking about this for a minute. I don't know if it's too much trouble for John to get. I could reveal to you guys how that landscape painting I have been showing you steps of, the November landscape, because you put it up high in the kitchen. Can you get that one?
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second.
So I'm going to let John get it and you can see it. John is editing that now. So many of you guys were like, how did you do that? I would love to see that as a finished piece. It was supposed to drop in November. That's why we're calling it the November landscape. But I was just wanting to do, yes, that one, the winter landscape. And so I'll show this one to you guys. So this is how it came out. If you're wondering, how did that landscape come out? This is how it came out. You guys have seen it where it was just blue through here, but without the light and reflections and underwater river stones and all the extra light on the stones that are coming down. So this is just a mountain stream leading into a really optimistic sunrise. And I expect that to be out I'll schedule it up and John will have it ready for you guys. Like, it's going to be out in a couple of weeks within January. So you guys are going to have that. It's a bigger course. We actually start with a grisaille. I take you through the whole thing. And we'll talk about that in that. So if you guys are excited about that, that is coming up. And I think it's just like, I'm just excited to see what 2023 has in store. We're going to have an update on Ireland. There's been so many things that have happened. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a bit of conflict, like in Europe.
That's probably not what's got us delayed most, though.
Well, but there's a lot of visas and things coming.
Oh yeah,
in.
there's a lot of
yeah,
things.
there's a lot happening. Ireland is really trying to be there for people, so we've got some stuff coming up, and we'll be giving you guys, updates on that. So there'll be an update video. My mom will be back pretty soon, and
It's all good stuff.
I'll do something with her. We're talking about doing something together. Everything is good.
It's just slow, is all. So that's all.
Yeah, nothing is bad. Everything is good. And I hope everything is good for you too. I really think the color mixing course, it's going to be almost like Big Art Quest again. It's going to be so deep. You guys are going to love it. And we're going to just go secondary colors, tertiary colors, all my weird colors. You will never be lost mixing colors with me again. You're going to be like, whoosh, 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 I can mix any color. Where's that orange? I can find it. You're going to be so ready for it. So, I'm not even over promising and under delivering. That's like really where it's going to be. You guys are going to be telling everyone, have you done the color mixing course?
Mix skills.
Have you got your mix skills? Have you got your mix skills? So that is definitely coming up. Now I'm making this video seem longer than it is, but I can't wait to see yours. If you're sharing these with me or any of the winter things, and you're giving them as a gift, if you go into the Facebook group, that's a closed group. So even though it's public to everyone in the group, none of your friends who aren't in the group can see it. So you can share your paintings there. You can also just share them out on Facebook and just tag me in. I'm not currently on Twitter, but I am checking just in case some of you are still on Twitter. I'm just taking a minute on Twitter and letting Twitter work itself out. It's just crazy over there. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just come in, see what's been shared with me, comment on those, like those, and get right back out. I go nowhere on Twitter. And I'm on Instagram. You can always tag me in at the Art Sherpa, and there's Pinterest. And of course, you can even come in and comment and share painting, I think, on our website below the video.
Mm-hmm. And we're getting more stuff coming like that.
There's going to be more stuff coming like that soon. And there may be announcement videos and things that come up. So have you subscribed? You should do that because this is all free. So if you like this, you definitely want to subscribe because this is completely free. I don't really know what to say other than, guys, be good to each other and be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you December 27th or at an easel really soon, depending on when you watch this. Bye-bye.